Ha ha. Once upon a time. But what did he do?
What did I what?
What did he do?
I went to the El Baño.
El baño.
El Baño de mi Catalone.
Your cat's bathroom? That sounds suspicious.
I mean, we do have a shared space.
Touche.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I'm waiting for you to go. There you go. Okay.
What did you do?
I was waiting for the Taco Bell commercial to go away.
Taco Bell.
It was infiltrating my screen.
Taco Bell.
Yo quiero un Taco Bell en mi pantalones.
Well, usually when you eat Taco Bell, there's going to be something in your pantalones.
Well, you just need to get a better stomach, good sir, because
Look, here's
Some
my
of us
rule of
can handle
thumb.
it.
If you're
No.
constipated, go to Taco Bell. If you do not have the shits within, I'll give it 6 hours, just to be on the nice side. 6 hours after eating Taco Bell, if you do not have the shits, go to the hospital immediately. You're gonna need surgery.
sounds like a man with a sad, sad stomach. You just need to toughen up a little.
Oh, please. Hold on 1 sec. Let me get my drink. 1 sec.
Is it Taco Bell? Mm. Mm.
Ha. Ha ha.
So you know what really ticks me off in life?
What's that?
We have data caps,
Data
but
caps.
Xfinity makes it so bloody hard to actually find where you're at with your current data usage.
Yep.
Like half the time it's broken. Sometimes it just doesn't bother to load. It just kind of sits there like, I'm not going to tell what your data usage is. You're just going to have to guess.
It's a magical number between you haven't used any and you're already over.
You'll find out at the end of the year when we charge you for it.
Yes.
Oh.
What do you notice that slight fluctuation in the monthly fee that you've been paying? That you thought you were paying the same fee every single year, every single month, but you're not.
And we're actually back. Whoa. What the hell? Oh. We're actually back billing you for the last 3 months, unbeknownst to you or your kids who spent 4 straight days
Streaming,
downloading porn.
streaming YouTube videos.
And they just like put something on their iPad so it never went to sleep.
Yes. No, my issue is that the eldest has decided that he wants to play Halo. And he found out that on Steam there's Halo Infinite, which is free to play. And so he's been playing that, but he's been getting his ass handed to him to the point where he got tagged as someone who's trying to throw matches and got banned for a couple hours. And so I was like, well, let me break out my Xbox One. And it turns out that I had to I have the Master Chief Collection. However, the disc is just like the starting point, and then it has to download everything. But the Xbox One is an older model of the of handling the downloads, so its max speed is about 40 megs. And so
Wait,
downloading anything takes for fucking ever.
Was it actually able to still download though?
Yeah.
That's kind of nuts, actually.
Well, it is technically it is, but it isn't a first-party title from Microsoft. And the cool thing was I went underneath all my games that I owned, and it actually gave me all my Xbox Live Arcade games from the 360 and the Xbox One.
That's kind of cool,
available for download. So I was like, ooh, I might try Shadow Complex again, because I know I've been mumbling about that in the background for a couple of weeks.
Xbox One is the equivalent of a PS4, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's still pretty damn shiny.
Yep. Now, the crazy thing is I actually found a controller.
And it worked?
Yeah. Well, I had to change out the batteries.
That would have been absolutely epic if the batteries magically still worked.
Yes. They were oozing.
Yeah.
The old ones were.
Yeah, I imagine. Did you have to clean the coils too?
Yeah, buddy.
Nice.
You know it. And it had oozed just enough that it took the serial number off of the controller, because it was inside where the batteries reside. So God only knows what the serial numbers are on that thing.
It's a Hacksword controller, actually.
Exactly. Ha ha ha.
You filed off the serial numbers. It's just a cover story.
Well, I tried to do a wired 360 controller, but Xbox One was like, I don't know what that is. However, I can plug in my mouse and keyboard.
Okay.
So riddle me that. Anyways, let's hit the record button.
It is a great riddle.
And we're going to mute Zealeus just for a second. Zealeus, don't worry. We'll unmute you in just a minute.
You jerk.
And we're going to start this show because it is 8 o'clock. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Dish the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Hello! It feels like it is a Wednesday because it is only 6 days since our last show, but I've been told by many reliable and unreliable sources that it actually is, in fact, Thursday.
It is indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, I am your host, Charlie, and I'm joined once again by the prolific comer himself, Zealeus.
It is good to see you, sir, 4 days before Christmas.
Yes, technically, yeah.
I mean, usually we're kind of done celebrating like the stuff by now, I'll grant you.
That's true.
And many families actually do the stuff on Christmas Eve night is not an uncommon practice.
Yes.
Depending on your things.
Yes. I know in my household there will be some gifts that are open on Christmas Eve, and then some Christmas morning, and then Christmas brunch time.
Nice. I know for those of us who work in the real world, it's kind of an awkward day because the 25th actually falls on a Monday.
Yes.
And so, like, a lot of us have technically lost, like, what would have been a normal holiday work day because they're like, you can go back to Tuesday, work on Tuesday because it's the 26th.
Yes. Well, thankfully, I work for a public institution, and it's declared that this entire next week I am off.
Nice.
Without having to take any additional days. So.
That is beautiful, sir.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this, of course, is the Thursday Hangout. It's a live show where we try our best to cover the topics most important to you during the show. And at any time during the show, if you have any topics, questions, comments, concerns that you would like to add to the show, please do so by dropping it into the chat on whatever platform you're on. It all goes into the wonderful chat window. And, of course, if we can, we will add it to the show. If we do run out of time, we will add it to the very next show. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. And the first thing is a little bit of news, update, as it were. Ladies and gentlemen, something that I personally, for Alter Confusion, have been doing over the past couple of years is attend a specific convention that happens in the month of January. Well, it just dawned on me that we are now December 21st, and January is very, very close. So, ladies and gentlemen, Alter Confusion will be at Chattacon up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Chattacon runs from January 12th to the 14th. I do not know if we're doing a panel or if I'm helping with panels, plural. All I do know is that I will be in attendance for said convention.
Nice.
Yes. That is, of course, over the MLK weekend.
Ooh.
So just keep that in mind. Chattanooga is a lovely city, and Chattacon is by far the best buddy convention, now that AndoCon is gone, that money can buy. Because literally everyone hangs out together. You could be the guest of honor all the way to this is the first time you've ever been to Chattacon, and you will be hanging out with everybody. So, it, of course, is happening at the Doubletree Hilton in downtown Chattanooga.
Nice.
I will be getting up there Thursday evening just so that I can make sure that I am in place and just in case I have any last-minute needs, like there's some electronics that I forgot or whatever, I could just run to the Best Buy that's a couple exits down the way and not have to miss any of the convention.
I'm sure that's never happened to you before.
That happened to me last year when I found out that the Chromebook does not like to directly attach itself to the brand new camcorder that we got last year.
Yes.
And so we had to get an SD card reader, a USB SD card reader, so that we could actually unload videos off of there, because also we were taking videos at very, very high quality. Which reminds me, I still need to mess around with that because, as some of you may have noticed, some of the interviews that we did at MomoCon last year have never been published. And the reason behind that is that the videos somehow got eaten, I guess.
No.
It's really weird. Like, the
Monster
files
invaded
did
your
not
camcorder?
go correctly. And so I've got to dabble around with that a little bit. And see if I can fix that so that this Chattacon, if I do any interviews, and of course this coming MomoCon, if I do any interviews, we could do a much better job than we did last year.
That sounds pretty reasonable.
Yes. So anyways, Chattacon.
You there Thursday and you come back Monday?
No, I'll be there Thursday and come back Sunday.
Nice.
Yes. So if anybody's interested, go to chat. I'm going to put it in the chat, but it is chattacon.org. You can find out all the. Oh man. It's saying that I'm not signed in. Okay, great. Well, it's chattacon.org, and Zealeus will add it. Thank you, Zealeus. Anyways, also another bit of housekeeping, ladies and gentlemen. If you are interested, I know that it's going to be too late to get this for Christmas, but ladies and gentlemen, there are some phenomenal Ultra Confusion items that you could buy for you or your loved ones. I believe it's ultraconfusion.tv/merch. I believe is the URL. We have a hat, we have a sticker, and we now have two other items available. Yes, one my son designed. I'm going to give you a wild guess which one that is. It is. Let's see if Zealeus got it correct.
I was guessing the sandals.
Yes, it is the sandals. My
Nice.
son was in charge of the sandals, and I of course made the
Notebook.
The notebook. Anyway,
And now you'll have a new doodle book.
exactly. So if you're looking for some Ultra Confusion merch, head over to ultraconfusion.tv/merch, and you can check out what we have there.
So
Uh,
are you rocking these sandals at this very moment?
no, we just put those sandals up 2 days ago, so I do not have the sandals yet.
I'm surprised you didn't like drive to their headquarters and be like, "Give me the
I
sandals.
need them now.
I need to drive with them back."
Yes. Anyway, so okay, so let's actually get into
You need to like custom order them because you have such large feet.
that's the other thing. I'm not exactly sure. Now, I have some sad news to report if it's talking about
Wait,
custom orders.
it's a serious question. What size shoe do you actually wear?
Depends, but usually a 13.
The largest they have is a 12 and a half.
That's what I figured. So I may not be able to sport them. My son might be the one who's sporting them.
Nice.
Yes, yes, indubitably. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, oh, that's interesting. 1 second here. I've got to there we go. I fixed Zealeus's picture. It was bothering me. There was like this weird letterboxing going on, and now I've fixed it.
Thanks, man.
I feel like there's something else that I need to do some housekeeping on, but I can't remember. So we're gonna go into some of the stories that has happened this past week ish. I think there's one story that might have come out the day that we did, or last Thursday. I can't remember. The first one, let's get into the really crazy stuff, and then we'll kind of back off. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, I know that we've been talking a lot about this wonderful thing, or this terrible thing, depending on where you stand, called AI. AI, of course, is short for artificial intelligence, and of course, it has made its way completely into the gaming workspace, as well as most workspaces. Now, there's been a ton of stuff having to come out about what constitutes AI submissions, how much of your work can be AI. We've local Atlanta businesses dealing with AI generated voice acting. Of course, you've got the AI generated art, AI generated writing, and now in the country of China, we have the first AI generated science fiction novel to win an award.
Was it the AI category?
No, it was an award for, let's see here, popular science and science fiction competition. The entire story.
I should start rating AI-driven books in Chinese.
Apparently, you should create AI novels and then submit it to Chinese competitions. Is what I'm assuming is happening.
So basically, we just throw a bunch of like random young adult and young fiction sci-fi books, randomly throw in Game of Thrones just to give it a little bit of a spin. Boom, you get the perfect book.
Bingo.
Got it all, man.
Basically, okay, so here's the deal. This whole story kind of stems from is that in 3 hours, a professor from a Beijing-based university's School of Journalism Communication department was able to, thanks to AI, generate a novel or a story called The Land of Machine Memories. Which, let's see here, I'm trying to see, the draft of over 40,000 characters was generated based on 66 prompts, and it won an award.
Nice.
Now,
Well,
he did this professor did this on purpose, simply because he wanted to see if judges were going to be able to tell the difference between AI generated and non-AI generated, or I guess organically generated content.
I would wager to guess the overwhelming majority of people would not be able to tell the difference between an AI generated book and a human generated book.
Be totally honest with you as well. I personally probably could not tell the difference. Unless, of course, I was in one of my severe OCD moments where I noticed that some words just don't quite ring the right way. Or perhaps the writing is like too flawless. Because I've read a ton of books in my day. And I know that there are some amazing books that have typos in them. And if there is a flawless story, I may wonder if there was some additional assistance.
Fair enough. Yeah. I don't think. And if like you gave books to people and we're like, is this AI or human created? And you're like, one of these five is AI.
Mhm.
I bet 20% of it is guessed incorrectly.
I bet that out of those entries, actually all but one were AI generated, just to mess with people, just so
But
because they don't know.
Yeah, people wouldn't be able to differentiate between what is AI and human, especially if you have books of like different reading levels. Like people wouldn't know. Like you just wouldn't.
Yeah.
But that's the age and day we're in.
Yep. So AI yet again. Now, speaking of science fiction, let's go into a story that is kind of baffling to me. I mean, I understand. I don't understand this. Apparently, in the let's see here, in many prisons across the United States, there is a censorship when it comes to fantasy and science fiction. And apparently, a lot of prisons ban inmates from being able to read fantasy and science fiction novels. And to that, I don't understand.
I mean, you would think, yeah, if people in prison because they did presumably bad things, wouldn't you want to do like everything possible to like keep them engaged in something non-destructive and dangerous? Which I guess is probably the premise is the Puritans think that like, oh no, they're gonna read about sci-fi and fantasy and it's gonna create wizards and witches, because there are people out there who actually believe that because they're crazy. But like, I would think you'd want your inmate treated. I'll put it that way. Unless it's like Mein Kampf or
you could read that, but you can't read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Come on, man, that's C.S. Lewis. You should be able to read that.
Right. No, okay. So, but here's the thing. So, what you're trying to tell me is that the prison system would rather individuals try to physically escape from prison instead of allowing them to escape into their own mind, into a world that was created by hopefully a talented author.
Sounds like a next plot for Prison Break.
Exactly.
And the next series of Prison Break, instead of having the maze tattooed on his body, and it's going to be smuggled in page by page into
Harry Potter.
Yes, actually, you're right. Harry Potter is actually a wizard who has the map to escape from Alcatraz.
Oh no. The novel Harry Potter is being smuggled in page by page.
But it has the map to escape.
Oh yeah, of course. It's got the Marauders map as well.
Oh, that's actually what the Marauders map is.
Yes.
Little did we know.
Okay, but seriously,
they're playing the long con.
Like, but I don't. Like, I really don't understand why. I mean, I understand, like, you know, how-to books on how to create weapons out of household items, or
yeah, I sure remember. Like, what is the one? What's that band that was like really? It got a lot of notoriety in the '90s. That like actually had to create bombs.
Yeah, it was basically it was.
I'm having a total brain fart on the title.
Hold on,
That's what I was trying to think of. Like that makes sense to ban. Okay, I get that. But like if it's just a regular fiction,
the Anarchist Cookbook.
Yes, thank you, Anarchist Cookbook.
Yep.
Okay, I can get behind banning that. But if it's just a book to let people escape and like not cause bad things to happen, go for it. Shouldn't be that complicated. Shouldn't. But let's just make people's lives who are already miserable even more miserable, because yeah, that's going to solve all our problems.
Yes, that's going to make it. That's going to give everybody the warm fuzzies and definitely make them readjusted individuals.
Actually, you know what? Given the books might actually increase their intelligence, and we can't have smart criminals on the streets.
Oh, absolutely.
Therefore, we should just ban all books in prisons so they're as dumb as possible because they can't read.
Yes. Then they'll have to resort to if anyone out there has ever seen the wonderful movie V for Vendetta, they write their life story on a piece of toilet paper and keep it rolled up in a hole in the wall.
Ah, but was it really a prison inmate? Was it really what happened?
The story was actually a prison inmate, but it wasn't actually a prison inmate who gave it to Natalie Portman's character.
Just yeah.
There's layers upon layers.
Was that made up too? How are we supposed to believe that actually happened, or was he just embellishing?
Yes.
I mean, if he already lied once, I might not believe that he didn't lie again, and just to convince her. I'm just saying.
Interesting.
That's a great movie, by the way. If you have not seen it out there, V for Vendetta, fantastic movie.
The graphic novel's a little bit more over the top, but still a phenomenal. Both of them are phenomenal. So,
yeah, it was really good, and kind of movies like that also give you a little bit of like the heebie-jeebies because you watch it and you're like, well, shit, there goes our future, because like you can see it happen.
This shit could happen, yeah.
Yeah, like very easily. It's like, wow, this is real. Like this is exactly what would happen. Yep.
I'm not gonna. I shy away from politics, especially on the Alter Confusion Thursday Hangout. But I will admit that I did do some creative reworking of a still from V for Vendetta with a past president of the United States. I'm just saying. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna say exactly who, but anyways. Okay.
Maybe I should go in the store. You could sell prints of it signed.
Okay. Speaking of messing around with intellectual property and science fiction, let's talk about the fact that both Amazon and the Tolkien estate have, thankfully, won a copyright lawsuit over a copycat book. Apparently, there is a gentleman out there who has published a book called The Fellowship of the King, which he claims is a sequel to The Lord of the Rings. Okay, first of all, you could say it's a spiritual, like you can kind of whisper it's a spiritual successor or sequel to The Lord of the Rings. You can't come out and say it's a sequel
to a direct sequel.
Exactly, because last time I checked, Polychron is not the last name of the individual who wrote Lord of the Rings. I believe his name is Tolkien. And so basically, not only did this individual go, basically what started all this was he went after Amazon for the what's the show? The Rings of Power TV show.
Rings of Power, yeah.
Saying that Amazon stole ideas from his book. Of course, once again.
Wait, so not only did he basically rip off Lord of the Rings, he then tried suing
Amazon for stealing ideas from for his sequel to Lord of the Rings, once again called The Fellowship of the King. And so Amazon and Tolkien estate both took this guy to court, and I'm happy to report that that Amazon and Tolkien estate won. And actually, to make it even sweeter, the state that this lawsuit was filed in was California, and the judge summarily dismissed the lawsuit with prejudice. And not only did this gentleman lose his suit, but, and this makes me really, really happy. As a result, the Tolkien estate countersued the author for infringing on their copyright of The Lord of the Rings. And the U.S. District Judge found in favor of the estate, which then granted them a permanent injunction, which then prevents this individual, Polychron, from copying, distributing, selling, performing, displaying, or otherwise exploiting his book or its sequel, which apparently is about to come out or was going to come out, called The Two Trees. The author was also ordered to destroy all physical and electronic copies of these works.
It's kind of like we've talked about a couple of times in this show with like most fantasy books could almost be seen as a sequel to Lord of the Rings because they have orcs and elves, which did not exist before Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
But they're also not like, hey, this elf is a direct descendant of Elrond. Like, they're not actually direct sequels. It's like, yes, they're borrowing things, but like, that's culturally acceptable. But when you start actually using like the verbiage of this is a direct sequel to Lord of the Rings, that's probably not going to end well.
See, yeah.
And not only do you claim that, then you try suing them for it. Like you've poked the bear.
Here's a fun little fact. Even if you think you're in the right, if you're going up against an existing work, which Lord of the Rings. I just want to make sure that I get the the publication date was 1954.
Back in the day.
So it's been around for just a couple years. And yeah, I would keep my mouth shut on this one. Now, if it was a case of we've talked about this in the past, there are many, many, many cases of the big guy basically trying to squash the little guy because they can. We have a friend who unfortunately lost their lawsuit simply because the bigger company kept filing for an extension, which of course makes you have to pay lawyer fees longer, and as the smaller person with having a much shallower wallet, you're going to have to cave into the demands of the big nasty. This is not that case. This is someone being stupid and thinking that they could pull a fast one.
Yeah, not probably well planned out.
Here's the thing. There are tons of sequels to Lord of the Rings out there. Unofficial sequels to Lord of the Rings. They're called fan fiction. And if an author wants to actually publish said fan fiction, they change it enough where they can claim it as their own. They don't go on to say that it is the sequel or follow-up novel to something that's very well established back in 1954. Zealeus put in the chat Twilight. Twilight, of course, was, I believe the author's name is Stephanie Myers. She had a very successful run with glittery vampires and werewolves and the love of a girl named Bella, I believe. And she made lots of money. There was an individual who wrote a very passionate fanfic based in the universe of Twilight. And when it was obvious that she had a hit on her hands, she changed the subject matter from werewolves and vampires to dominatrix, and that is the 50 Shades of Grey. And ta-da! See, that's how you do it.
Neither of which I've actually seen.
I have never seen any of the 50 Shades. I grew up in a household with two sisters, so I have seen, and also I have a thing for Anna Kendrick, so I have seen at least one, maybe two of the Twilights, I think. Maybe, I'm not sure. I've never read them, though.
Not gonna lie, there was like a week, it felt like, when they're on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Like, it was a very short span, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch these eventually. And before I had a chance to watch them, they're already off. I'm
Yes.
like, well, that was quick. So I don't know why they were on there for like what literally seemed a week. So apparently I missed my window.
Yes,
Um,
apparently.
but I'm okay with cheesy vampire fiction. I mean, hell, I watched all of Vampire Diaries and the originals.
Yes, man.
So,
So, but anyways, if you want to make a spiritual successor, and I keep saying spiritual successor because that's the route you want to go. Make it a spiritual successor, but change enough of it that it's not, the Baggins family's next descendant. Okay?
I mean, hell, even look at video games. Like every video game derives something else from another video game. I mean, you could be like, it's a spiritual successor to GoldenEye. It's a spiritual successor to like, Warcraft, like all these different games. But like, they're not calling it that. They're
No.
like, oh, it's from that genre or, other things. It's like, you can't be a direct derivative of that. Or if it is, you still call it something else and try to get away with it.
See, the thing is, you allow your fans to say it's a spiritual successor. You may whisper into a couple of people's ears that it's a spiritual successor, but you never outright say that. And you definitely don't go after the IP holder. I mean, that's got to be the dumbest thing you could do.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, who knows if they never went after them and may have slid under the radar for all we know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like hitting a hornet's nest before sundown. Just a bad idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about bad ideas. And
wait, there's more bad ideas?
Well, let's talk about a bad idea, or I guess something that they thought that individuals could get away with, and it turned out to backfire in their face. We talked about this last show, and that, of course, is the game called The Day Before, which was supposed to be a zombie MMO, but of course was absolute. And the company has since been closed, and the game, I think, has been pulled from Steam, with the exception of if you have a Steam key, you still have the ability to potentially download this game. Now, something, of course, happens when this level of controversy occurs, and that is individuals who have Steam keys that they never actually activated are now selling them or auctioning them off. Some of them are going for $200 or more, so that individuals can have a rare copy of this absolute piece of crap game, because sometimes shitty games actually hold value in the end.
But doesn't that really only work with physical games, at least as we currently know it?
You would think. You would
is
think
is this going to be the new Suikoden?
Okay, so Suikoden was never bad, though. Okay? The thing is, look, the downside to physical copies of games is that sometimes a game does not take off fast enough and that gets pulled from the shelves. And then it turns out that, holy shit, this game was a masterpiece. And so it's very rare for publishers to push that game back out. Case in point, Suikoden 2. But in another example, I think it was a DS game. I think that's when it first came out, was the Game Boy DS. That, of course, was Puzzle Quest. The original Puzzle Quest was only on shelves for about a week. No one picked it up, so the publisher pulled all of it, or maybe it was I don't know exactly what happened, but basically all of the copies were sent back to the publisher, and then all of a sudden the game caught fire, and the publisher had to pay on their own dime to push all those games back into the stores. Now, the funny thing, or I guess the fact of the matter is, the popularity was going so nuts that they knew they were going to make back their money. And now, of course, there's been sequel upon sequel upon sequel of Puzzle Quest. Although I think the original Puzzle Quest is still the best. The second one was absolute horseshit. But that's just me.
I love me some. Well, I know. Actually, I don't really care about puzzles, but I know Charlie loves him some puzzles.
Well, it's a match 3 game that had an RPG element to it. So that really just screamed my name.
Yeah. Do you still play match 3 games?
I on my phone on occasion when I get the itch.
Nice.
But anyways, there are, like I said, there are secondhand Steam keys for the day before that are being sold between $215 and $485 for the Steam keys. Now, the question that I have is this like
Dumb,
well,
stupid,
yes. Well, no, it's
idiotic.
absolutely stupid because like it's digital. It's digital property, okay? And we know for a fact that digital currency, digital property, digital rights to a piece of software can disappear in a heartbeat. So yes, right now it could sell for $485, which of course, you know, if
You know what?
you've got
It's like a Steam version of an NFT.
yes, exactly. If you have an unused key, sell that shit right now
Oh,
to
I
some
would sell
sucker.
right now if I had one. I'd be like, Carl, I gotta go. Give me 5 minutes, and I'll be back.
Exactly. Just make a little bit of money. Don't hold on to that shit because you don't know
That
how
shit
much
ain't
longer that's
appreciated.
going to be on. You don't know where that game's being hosted.
No, like like physical goods. I understand holding on to those and
Yep.
hoping they appreciate. But
Hello,
digital just seems
Funko
like a
Pops.
bad idea.
Physical goods, Funko Pops, still in the box, baby. Ha Just like all the LPs I have, which, ladies and gentlemen, for those that may not be old enough, LPs are records. There's these circular vinyl things that play music on these special players called turntables. Anyways, no, it's one of those. This is this game's 15 minutes of fame. So if you've got an unused key, sell it now, get your money, and then laugh your ass off when all of this bottoms out in about probably another 15, 30 days. Because what might be happening is that it might just be, hell, it might be on the Steam servers until the end of the month. And then
Yeah, I'm
once
not
January
sure
1 hits, it's gone.
what good, like 15 minutes of fame regarding a digital key is gonna do. Like, and I would say,
And the thing is, it's not doing any good for the developer of this game. It's only for the individual who, at the time, felt really stupid for accidentally buying this game, but now looks like, you know, a genius because now they get to turn around and sell this worthless piece of crap.
well, even look at the history of like cryptocurrency and NFTs.
Yeah.
You always hit a peak, and then there's going to be a collapse. And granted, crypto is actually still worth money, not as much as it was, but you still got some Bitcoins are good. But like the NFTs fell the hell out because people very quickly realized, like, what's the point of an NFT? And I still don't understand the point of an NFT. I think I'm a pretty smart technology person, but I still don't understand what the hell point one is.
Yeah, I don't know either. Apparently, there are a handful of streamers out there that are still streaming the day before, and they have audiences in the dozens who will yeah, it's that direct quote, in the dozens that will sit around and watch this terrible game. I was just looking on basically I was looking for more information about, you know, how long it's going to stick around, and as of right now, when the company closed, when they announced their closure, they said the servers will remain operational for an undisclosed period. So technically, December 31st could be the last day this bad boy is. I mean, really, it's like they've rented space for a specific amount of time. Once once the rent is due, the company's no longer there, doesn't get paid, everything gets shut down. So, ta-da!
Yeah. So this person's playing the day before right now. They have 14 viewers.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I still feel like it's a very weird situation how it got shit on so much. And that it just looked like another survival game from what I saw versus like it's causing developers shut down. But remember what happened like when what was it, SimCity 4 came out?
Oh, no, I think they made it just SimCity again. They reset the number.
Like, remember how terribly that was received?
Yeah.
But because like that was received much worse than this game, and that was like a gold release, right? So
Right.
it's
But once
like
again,
to me, this is such a
SimCity had a name behind it, though.
but like this is such a mob mentality type of thing.
We live in a mob mentality society, though.
Like I don't know. It does kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth that this is the literally entire point of early access is to put out a game, and guess what? Like, if you don't like it, don't buy it. It's not that complicated. I don't know. It just, yeah, I don't like how it all turned out personally. That's just me. I feel like it was very much a lob. It was like a mob thing going on where it's like a couple people, and let's be honest, most of the people who reviewed it and shot on it have never played the game. Like, I guarantee if you look at like if they actually did like a deep dive into like the reviews and all that stuff, it would be like you probably remember that game. There was that game years ago where this reviewer came out like, "This is the worst game ever. It's terrible." And the developer looked at the logs. Was like, "You played an hour and a half of the game." And
that,
the person,
dude, how could you forget what that game is? That's Global Agenda.
Thank you. Yes, Global. I was like, it's there, but like they very clearly were like, "No, you're full of BS." And that's kind of how I feel about this game. Is it just came out like literally for a day, and it was already being like totally castricized. When about for a day, it's like, how much of a judgment can you really make?
So here's part of the problem. One, it wasn't just the reviewers who were shatting on it. They were going off of, there was another game out there. It was some kind of aliens game, where the trailers and what was supposed to be in-game content was absolute bullshit. Like it looked gorgeous. It had, this like lighting effects and this kind of like oh my gosh, field of view type thing that just made it feel creepy. And then the actual release came out and all the lights are on. There's no lighting effects. There's no it's
not like Dead Space.
No, I'm not talking about Dead Space 3. It was something. It was called like Alien Soldier or something. Anyways, so this is another case where what was shown as in-game content on all the trailers and all the promises about it, the reviewers were able to stream it, and the individuals who were so pumped about it got to watch the reviewers, and the entire time they're going, WTF? This where's the multiplayer part? Where's this? It's supposed to be more like Last of Us, and then also there was. Then people started to notice that it looked like there was asset swapping that was going in. Like a lot of the assets, yes, they bought an asset pack, which was, we already talked about that. But also it looked like they may have taken some other assets that were not in the pack and added to the game to make it look more like Last of Us and other zombie apocalyptic games. And so that's where it really got... 5 years of promises, and it came out to... The problem with SimCity was that the servers weren't working, and they had shards, which, ladies and gentlemen, mean that not everything was on one central server, and they were basically locking in every single gamer into a specific server. So if you try to log on to SimCity and your server was down for maintenance because they somehow underestimated the power of the name SimCity, you would have to start with a brand new city. You have to start all over again. Now, if that server were to come up the next time, you unfortunately would have to manually change what server you're currently on so you get back to your real city and not your fake city. That's why that got shot on.
To go after is all the iOS games that do exactly what you're talking about.
The bait and switch.
Oh, how many iOS advertisements have you seen where it's like, oh, that looks like an interesting game?
Yes,
You
and then you
install it,
play it,
and
and you're
it's
like, "What the
literally
fuck is this?"
like it's not even close. It's like not even the same genre. I'm like, what happened?
No, there's a game. I can't remember off the top of my head, and if I do, I'm not going to mention it. But it's like a tower defense game, and the way that it was shown to you was that you could play either like more of like a campaign mode, where you could kind of like level up your characters and stuff, or you could play on multiplayer. But the actual game is strictly multiplayer, and you're only allowed um, a certain number of times to play multiplayer within a certain time frame. So literally, you got early on, you play once, and then you got to wait like 10 hours.
I feel like a bunch of the like RPG 5v5 games do that, where
Yeah.
it's like they make it look like an action RPG where you have agency and it's literally all auto attack. And there's actually no action.
Yes, yes. The idle games where or what they call tapper games, and then when you actually go into there is the only tapping you're doing is selecting who is going to battle in this, and then it literally you just sit there for however many rounds it takes for your army to either get decimated or win.
The mobs anger over these.
Oh,
put it towards something useful.
And then there's also that I was playing a game the other day. There is an unspoken of cap for number of rounds. So you could technically be winning, but as long as your enemy, in like I guess it's the 20th round or the 12th round or whatever, has 1 HP, you lost. And so you have to you got to level up some more and try again. I'm like, what the delete.
Sounds annoying.
Yes, absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pause for just a second to give thanks and give a shout out to all those amazing people who help Alter Confusion be the Alter Confusion that you love and adore. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. The first one we got to talk about is the Indie Cluster. The Indie Cluster is an organization of independent game developers that want to gain exposure by being involved in the community. They collectively journey to popular conferences as a traveling booth to help gain attention for their games. They make partnerships in local communities to bring games to the mainstream mindset. They highlight local, unusual, and rare concepts to challenge the paradigm of the common. They also host events to teach kids and minority groups about game development to hopefully one day enter the industry themselves. For more information, go to indiecluster.com. Oops. The next shout out we got to give is to the AV master himself, and that, of course, is Noodleboy Media. Founded in 2015 by Andrew Tran, Noodleboy Media, previously Whack Kid 47 Media, is your choice for professional photo shoots and panel recordings at conventions. They pride themselves in providing a high level of professionalism, top-notch experiences, and quality services. If you want more information and to view their full list of services, check out facebook.com/noodleboymedia. Now, if you're in the greater Atlanta area, this next one is just for you. If you're a gamer and you've got all those weird aches and pains that come along with long gaming sessions, ladies and gentlemen, Hero Chiropractic is a unique healthcare practice set up by Ryan Moore. The company's focus to elevate a patient's experience of freedom, creative expression, and joy. They believe that everyone can be a hero and has incredible heroic potential inside themselves waiting to be unleashed. Hero Chiropractic focuses on mobile chiropractic care in the greater Atlanta area. They're committed to healing clients by creating a plan of action uniquely suited for each person. They make that plan of action as convenient and affordable as possible, and most importantly, suited to your individual needs. For more information, go to herochiropractic.com. The next one that we have to do is, of course, to shout out to our music maestro, and that, of course, is Crosspad Creative. Need a new logo or want to work on a full branding and content strategy? Or maybe you need music or audio for your content, just like Alter Confusion? Crosspad Creative offers a whole host of solutions for individuals and small businesses. Just email Josh at crosspadcreative@gmail.com and see what he can do for you. The final shout out we got to give is to the original supporter, and that, of course, is Agile Axiom. By day, Axe leads both the development team and system administration team working with satellites at NASA's Goddard campus. But while not in meetings and many times during, he is the Agile evangelist Agile Axe, championing the philosophy of Agile and trying to make the world a better place for software developers, testers, system admins, and software projects the world over. Decades of experience in software development and leading Agile teams are brought to bear against evil processes inefficient work, and bad habits. For more information and also to check out his book, go to agileaxiom.com. Now I know that everyone out there is screaming to know, how do I become a friend of the show? Well, that's quite simple. Ladies and gentlemen, Alter Confusion survives on the love and support of fans like you, and so we have a Patreon page. Patreon lets you, the fans, lovers, haters, demigods, interdimensional beings, gods, demons, aliens, mummies, vampires, swamp things, werewolves, monsters, supporters, and more to become active participants of the work we love through a monthly membership. This gives you access to exclusive content, community, and insight into our creative process. In exchange, we gain a bit more freedom to do our best work and the stability we need to build an even stronger creative career. Currently, we have also house pets, cats, dogs, horses, snakes, tarantulas, sentient cars. I don't know. That kind of, I don't know. I don't trust Elon right now. Anyways, we currently have two different tiers. You got the $1 tier, that's $1 a month or $12 a year. And what that gets you is early access to our playthroughs, as well as the ability to participate in patron-only posts. Now, if you're feeling a little bit frisky, or if you are indeed wanting to become a friend of the show that gets announced every single Thursday night, that's the $5 level. It's $5 a month or $60 a year. Not only, of course, do you get everything at the $1 level, but you also gain your name or organization added to the Friends of the Show section of every single Thursday night hangout. So if you want to become a patron of Alter Confusion, go to Patreon. That's patreon.com/altered confusion. Now, I know we're getting super duper close, and this is going to happen next week. I'm not exactly sure, but ladies and gentlemen, Alter Confusion is proud to say that we have been fundraising for Extra Life for 12 straight years. Extra Life is gamers doing what we do best, game, to help sick and injured children at their chosen Children's Miracle Network Hospital. The money that we raise through Extra Life will go directly to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta as unrestricted funds. This means that the hospital decides where and how to spend the money to ensure the dollars we raise make the biggest impact in the lives of the kids they treat. So if you have the capacity to donate, please go to extra-life.org and search for Altered Confusion today. Zealeus, as much as I would love to start December 24th at 6 p.m., I will be at a family dinner, and I'm pretty sure that would be frowned upon.
That's what I'm saying. I know that your family also values the lives of kids. So what better way to give back than to give away from your family for, 2 holidays and spend it doing gaming? I mean, sounds like the dream to me.
All right. Hold on 1 second. I'm about to sneeze.
You don't think that's a go?
I don't think that will quite flip. But ladies and gentlemen, I do want to say and thank all the individuals who have donated thus far. We did reach the T-shirt goal, so I now have my Extra Life T-shirt that I will be wearing during the stream.
Do you have 12 T-shirts, one for every year?
I do not, because I did not reach that goal every single year. I don't think it was offered every single year.
I thought maybe you embezzled money to make it happen.
No, I did not. Anyways, so let's get back into the stories. The next one is that I'm just going to say this real quick. Bobby Kotick is officially 100% out of Activision Blizzard. He wrote a farewell note. I would not even. The letter is worth less than the tissue I blow my nose in. So, yeah.
Farewell and thanks for all the millions.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever he did or didn't do and all the et ceteras, he's richer than you and I could ever dream of. So there's that.
Yes, there is that. It hurts. It hurts really, really bad that rich people get to fall up, not down. Constantly. Okay.
Or they fall down on top of the person under them and they take the brunt of the fall.
That too. That does happen as well, unfortunately. Excuse me. Now, let's talk about And I still can't figure this one out. I think this was a joke. I swear to God, it better be a joke. But there was a post that I saw last week that that made me really want to scream and put my head through a wall, and that revolved around. Let me see. I want to make sure that I get this right. And I like it. Once again, I hope this is a joke. But someone went out and said that Nintendo is woke. Brie Larson is set to play a female version of Samus in the Metroid movie. And if the Metroid movie is a real thing, I would love to see it. Two, if someone is dumb enough to actually think that Samus is not a female, because she absolutely is, then I hope that this person was immediately fired. Because this is worse than giving a review on a game that you only played 16 minutes of.
Yeah. Like, as far as I know, this whole thing started because, like, years ago, Brie Larson wanted to be cast as Samson.
Yep.
And obviously it hasn't happened because there just isn't, as far as we know.
It's Samus, by the way. It's not Samson.
Sorry,
Samson is from the Bible.
That's not right. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Samus Bailey, right?
Samus Aran.
Aaron?
Yep.
Wait, I thought Samus Bailey was the cheat code for the original Metroid.
Hold on.
So, like, on the original Metroid on the Nintendo, so back in the day, before we had save points, basically
Justin
like
Bailey is the password.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But
of.
it's Samus Aran, Aran.
I was thinking of the password. So those don't know, back in the day, like, you didn't really save games, but you had the keywords like that it would tell you after you did certain milestones to type this in to kind of get back to this save point in the game. And that was like basically the last save point in the game that you could access using the typed word. And when you spawned, you spawned as Samus without the full armor. So it's like almost like a little weird Easter egg thing.
Yep.
So yeah, that's like where this all started. So I guess this just sounds like some dumb anti-woke tweet that's, I don't even know. Like, yeah. Social media just confuses me.
Yeah.
My brain's too small to understand the intricacies of it and what's being real, what's not real. Are people like this, like intentionally posting this to piss people off?
Because it's doing a great job.
Did they know it's not real?
Yeah.
I just can't.
So, all right, now on to something a little bit more up Zealeus' alley. Well, I mean, Metroid is not. It's not that Metroid's not up Zealeus' alley, but what is this is something that apparently Blizzard is doing. What is your thoughts on Blizzard tweaking the drops of an extra or extremely rare item?
To be honest, I haven't played Diablo 4 in like a month.
So apparently what they're doing is they've changed the drop rate for some kind of rare item. What is your opinion of games that draw? Basically, they doubled the drop rate of a Uber Uniques in the Echo of Dural boss fight, making it easier for players to obtain special gear.
So, whatever on that. What does annoy me is, so we've all played hard games over the years, like whether it's single player games or like when you do like, you know, when I was doing like raiding and WoW and you literally spent like months learning like the exact patterns of bosses. Yep. That's how the old school single player went. Like you had to learn the exact sequence of a boss. And guess what? You didn't have a save point. Like you had to start from scratch just to get back to that boss. And so like Duriel is when like they have like, they're like the elite boss version of Duriel. And like Blizzard was very upfront about like this, where like there's going to be challenging fights in the games. Like you just can't literally press WASD or like W forward and just spam your same attack. And like when people complain that like this is too tough, like Blizzard needs to make this easier, like I think it's a good thing personally. Kind of relating to this, I guess, regardless of the drop rate, that like in a game like this, that there is a boss that like 0.1% of people have beat. Like that is not a bad thing in an online video game.
Mm-hmm.
That there are like bosses where the solution is get good. Literally, that's it. Like there's no other trick. It's not get better gear. It's just get good. And guess what? It might literally require 20 hours of learning the patterns of that boss. That's fine, honestly. And like, and if they're gonna have that to drop the Uber, so like in this case, if it's that hard where maybe you have to increase the drop rate so like more than 2 people in the entire game have the gear, I'm cool with that. But like having that ultra hard boss, I think that's actually a good thing. And it's actually like a actual reward in badge of honor that you beat that boss.
Right.
Because,
okay, but let's say you have an uber hard boss, and the drop rate for an uber exclusive item is really, really low.
I'm fine with increasing that drop rate.
Okay.
Yeah, that I have no problem. If anything, I think that if it's an uber hard boss, there should be like almost, especially for the first time, like almost like a guaranteed uber item that drops. I don't think is unreasonable. Like, is there a reasonable, because like if it's that hard of a boss, just because you beat it once, you might not beat it again for another like 2 months. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
sometimes you beat it with like 0.01% health and you just got that last, percentage based crit to beat the boss before he died from a poison soak or something.
Right.
And so having like a good drop, guaranteed to drop or high drop rate, like that I'm totally cool with, honestly. But not the like increase the drop rate. I guess you kind of have 2 choices really as a developer. Increase the drop rate or nerf the boss to basically get more items into the global pool. I'd much rather they increase the drop rate and don't nerf the boss. Have a hard boss. Do it.
Right.
And I think someone who's never going to beat that boss. Like, I don't have the patience for it. Other people are. I'm past the point in my life. But have that super, super duper hard boss that very few people are going to beat, I think is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I too am okay with, and
I'll say, what I think also a non-necessary boss. So I'm not saying like, a boss in the campaign or even to get the, 95th percentile item. I'm talking like a boss who's 100% not necessary to see everything.
Right. No, and I think that as you've probably seen me stream quite a few times, there are certain bosses out there that give me nightmares to this day. And there are some bosses out there that I've never been able to beat. And if I were to ever beat them, I think that I would definitely be in the on the side of increasing the drop rate, because I don't want that boss to. It would feel like that battle had been cheapened if they eased off the intensity of the boss. However, I really would like to have that badge of honor for saying that I beat him at least once.
Yeah. And I will say it is a little bit frustrating as a player.
Yeah.
Where if you beat one of those uber hard bosses and you get like nothing useful. Like
you got a potion of lesser health. Thanks for playing. You asshole.
Like that kind of disincentivizes the entire idea of spending all that time. So absolutely there should be something uber as a result if the boss is also proportionately difficult. I think is cool.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my approach on that.
Okay. Well, I know we're now in the 9 o'clock hour, so we're starting to run out of a little bit of time. But I do have to make mention of this, and that is that one of the potentially big pieces or next pieces of where the MCU was going to go, that of course is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is now gone kaputskis. And that, of course, is the actor Jonathan Majors, who plays the role of Kang the Conqueror. Um, that the whatever was going to happen with that storyline is now being completely cut. And the reason behind that is that Jonathan Majors has been found guilty of basically what was it?
Wasn't it assault?
Yeah, it was. It was assault of. I want to make sure that I get this exactly right here. Assaulting and otherwise terrorizing his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Um, he was going to be the next big guy. I mean, he was in the latest Ant-Man and Wasp movie. He was also a key component in the Loki TV series on Disney Plus, and so now they're going to pivot and find another ultra bad guy to be, to take the place of Thanos, because the Thanos storyline is now over and the Kang story will no longer happen.
I mean, they've recast people in the past. They did it with Don Cheadle.
Okay, so War Machine. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean, but the Avengers was not going to be made or broken by the absence of War Machine.
I totally agree with that.
Whereas you put your main bad guy there, and there has been talk about maybe a recast, but from what I've heard, Marvel would rather completely remove the Kang or just stop the Kang storyline and move on to another bad guy.
I suppose in some way there will always be also then some kind of controversy related around that.
Yeah.
I'm also making slightly light of the situation. It always kind of fascinates me. I don't know if fascinates the right word, but that like somebody like him who did terrible things basically was set up for stardom with his roles. Like,
Ezra Miller.
Well, actually, Ezra Miller's a great example too.
Yeah.
But you have actors like this, like, Ezra Miller, we haven't seen since then.
Yep.
Majors we're not going to see now. I mean, these were actors who had big time roles who were, they're probably already set financially levered at this point after one or two roles, but like they would have continuing roles to really have that money. And now they're basically, I don't want to say screwed because they did it to themselves. Like it's not being done to them. It's 100% their fault.
They're blacklisted.
Yeah. But as they should be 100%.
Absolutely.
But like they had these opportunity for generational wealth, which you've now completely screwed up. And I'm sure a large part of it is, and again, this is not justifying their actions at all, is they've never probably been told no in their lives before. I mean, a lot of these big time actors, and this is also athletes, are the same thing. And actually business people, a lot of
Bobby
people in power, they've never been told no in their life. You know, actually, that is very interesting that you bring them up because if you think about it, someone like Bobby Kotick, for years, I know he hasn't been found guilty, but he has these same allegations brought against him, and yet he's still. It took literally Microsoft buying Activision for him to be ousted from his role.
Yep.
Whereas, but he's publicly facing, but not in a way an actor is.
Right.
Where they truly are the face of that TV show or movie.
Well, you're constantly in the spotlight, whereas Bobby Kotick, I mean, he was constantly in the spotlight, but, it was basically what was he going to say next? He wasn't, paparazzi was not following Bobby Kotick around.
So it's like, and I feel like a lot of these people, that's a large part of what happens is they're just used to always getting their way.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can't always get to my way. And nor should they always get their way.
Yes, agreed.
So, yeah. But again, I have not really watched any of the. I don't even know who Roy Majors is because I haven't watched any of the Marvel stuff since Endgame.
Jonathan Majors. Roy Majors is something totally different.
Yes. Yeah. Um, the closest I've done is I started watching the Halo TV series.
Yes. I have watched the first episode twice because my son wanted to watch.
Ah,
He's like, "What? There's a Halo TV series?" And I will state it again after watching just the first episode. I'm not a fan of Chief removing his helmet, and I think that the girl that he met is the most blundering idiot I've ever seen in my life when it came to self-preservation. She had none. Like, she just somehow lucked out every single effing time.
so this is actually something that really bothers me in a lot of. So other TV shows have done this. Two that come to mind: Fate Week Saga and Shadow Hunters,
Mhm.
which is based off of a book. You have this protagonist, and a lot of it, especially in the books, is they're trying to be cast as the strong, independent female. And nothing wrong with that at all. Like, because other books do it really well with that type of prototype. But what they do, and it's the same thing with Halo, is they turn this character and they go from basically being the strong, independent person. And like, there's a difference between being independent and strong and just being whiny, and you have to do your own way, even though there's other people who are very experienced. They're like, no, this is a terrible idea. Why are you doing this? And they're like, no, I'm going to do it my way because I'm tired of people telling me to do it your way.
No,
and then they literally walk into the exact trap that they're just telling them that they're going to walk into. It's like, oh, I don't know why that happened. I'm like, what the fuck? I just told you that. So a lot of shows have done that the last couple of years, and it really, really annoys me.
No, okay. So here's the thing. In the first episode, I'm not going to give like anything away about the show, but there is a female character who keeps running towards the action. She's trying to save her life, her own life, okay? Yet she keeps running towards areas where shit is happening. Like,
yeah,
you deserve to be shot, okay? There are people who are being accidentally shot who are trying their best to actually survive. You're on this like weird ass like kamikaze mission where somehow all of a sudden all of the enemies have turned into stormtroopers and can't hit the broadside of an effing barn.
One show that actually did it well was Extraction, because like the young character basically didn't do anything. Like it was literally just Chris Hemsworth just saving them. And that was cool because the young boy didn't have to actually like do anything. So like that movie was fine. It worked out. But a lot of them, when like you try to give a little bit too much agency to that independent young character, and I'm like, okay, now you're just annoying me.
Yes.
Because they end up making terrible decisions. And it's not that like I don't mind when I see what happens in a TV show, but like when when the writers are trying to make you think like it's a surprise that these bad things are going to happen, you're like, no, it's totally obvious because the character is a dumbass.
Yeah.
Like that really bothers me.
Yeah. It would be like, this is going to date me, but basically being absolutely floored every single time some kind of physical harm comes to one of the Three Stooges. That's just like, you know, it's going to be slapstick humor. They're going to get hit by doors and open fist or open hands and fist and stomped on toes. And if you're surprised every single time that happens, I mean, that's how I feel like some of this writing is, where it's like, surprise, you're like, no. Anyways, I do want to, I know that we're about out of time, but I do want to recommend a book that I'm rereading right now. So I'm going to give it a shout out. And that, of course, is a classic that both I and Zealeus fully support and love. And that, of course, is The Great Book of Amber. I believe I'm into book 4 or book 5 now. I'm loving it. And I'm starting to remember. It's kind of funny. In the main character at the beginning of The Great Book of Amber has amnesia, okay?
Yep.
And so he starts slowly remembering things. I'm reading The Great Book of Amber, and I'm starting to slowly remember things. So I kind of feel like the main character because I'm going, oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah,
That's
that's cool.
that's the connection.
Because remember, the story is at the beginning, it's the mystery of why does he have amnesia?
Yeah,
Like, what happened?
exactly.
And so, like, you're kind of following along, but you're going to pick up quicker. Obviously, you read it again as far as who done it.
Yes, but at the same time, like certain puzzle pieces that are just on the outskirts that might have taken me longer the first time
Mm,
I read, I'm now going, wait a minute, something is about to. Oh, I feel it's like my spider senses are tingling.
that makes sense. Yep.
So once again, I highly recommend the Great Book of Amber. I know
I
that if you're reading in an ebook format, you can't actually buy the entire thing in one fell swoop. You have to buy the book, which it's okay. You could do it.
wait, you have the physical books,
I
don't
do
you?
have the physical book, but I'm scared to death to touch said physical book because I don't want to ruin it.
You want to ruin the book you can't actually touch.
I'm not
You're
going
like,
to ruin
you're
it.
like touching a Funko Pop.
Yeah, I want to keep it as pristine as possible. That, and also I lent out a book to someone that I really enjoyed, and somehow the way that they read the book, it basically fell apart into pieces. And I know that I would take very good care of my own books, but I'm scared to death that some damage would come to said book. Therefore, that book shall stay on the shelf, and and it's worth purchasing the e-book copies of each of the individual books because it's that good of a series.
It is a pretty phenomenal book. Not going to disagree at all.
And his other works are really good as well. So, Lord of Light was phenomenal.
I've read Lord of the Right. It's a very interesting read.
What was the other big one that he had that I read? I know that's being very vague, but
That's the only one I remember is the Lord of the Light.
Zelazny. Hold on. It's Roger Zelazny, Zelazny, for those of you who are trying to figure out what his last name is. And let's see here. Lord of the Light. No. Where are you? Did I do Lord Demon? I might have done Lord Demon.
I do not know.
That might have been it. It might have been the Lord Demon, which is Lord of Light was based off of the Hindu mythology. Lord Demon was co-authored, and it was about Chinese mythology. And I kind of, in a really cool way, an author kind of did this as well. Another author did this as well, which we absolutely adore, is Neil Gaiman. He did American Gods, and what was the other book? I want to call it Norse Gods, maybe. Anyways, just Gaiman and Zelazny. Okay, just buy all of their stuff. It's amazing.
They're classic.
Anyways, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we've reached the end of our show. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zealeus, it's been a pleasure getting everything from our heads, our mouths, and of course, our hearts. We'll be back next Thursday for another Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
And remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother. And we're out, or we've stopped recording, but we're still online. And I want to mention there is a book that Neil Gaiman wrote, and he wrote it in several sections of his writing career, and that, of course, is the Graveyard book, which is effing amazing. And so is Neverwhere. Just like I said, just anything that Neil Gaiman has written, just go ahead, do yourself a favor, and buy the damn thing.
Yeah, you probably don't want to buy the individual Great Book of Amber novels on their own.
Yeah.
Because apparently they don't actually print them anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't
but
know that.
that's the only way they sell them for ebook.
Yeah, like the first one is you can buy it used for $50.
Yep. Yeah, but you could
Like,
buy an ebook format like for $4.99.
yeah, so you can buy the entire omnibus like at a normal new price, but it's like the inverse
Yes.
of what you can actually purchase, which I
Yes.
had no idea. Because the Great Book of Amber, it's a pretty big book to like comfortably read
Yes.
in terms of like sitting there and just reading in your chair is a little bit like, oh, it's heavy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to point out, if you follow me on, or if you follow Alter Confusion on Instagram, and maybe also I might have cross posted this on Facebook, but I did have my computer desk had a little bit of an accident and
Oh
destroyed
no!
one of my USB hubs. Basically the USB hub that allowed me to make my desk a standing desk. And I just got the replacement about 45 minutes before the show. Thankfully, I did not need to stand during the show. But hopefully the reintegration of this will allow me to stand once again.
I really, in the middle of the show, just want to see you start like sitting and standing, just start going up and down.
The problem would be right now is I would have to be squatting throughout the entire show if basically, it's kind of like a pop up and down. I wouldn't be able to do the full stand. And also, I don't know I'm not going to try it because I don't want to rip things around, but I wonder how loud the motor is actually on my desk. But that's a question for a different day.
There's one way to find out.
Later, ladies and gentlemen. Later. All right. Everybody have a happy holiday. We'll be back next Thursday, which would be the 28th.
I should be around.
28th?
Yeah, it will be. Yep, I should be. Yep.
Right on. All right, cool.